One of the hardest things to do in our increasingly impersonal world is communicate. Communication is paramount to our success as entrepreneurs, yet it only seems to get harder and harder as our businesses grow. Well, our guest today is going to tell you the key to effective communication, as well as why you should never rely on another platform to deliver your message. Stay tuned. Part 1 of this informative interview is coming at you shortly.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy.
Today's guest is Lee Caraher, CEO and founder of Double Forte, a national public relations and digital marketing agency based in San Francisco, California. Lee is also the author of 2 books, Millennials and Management, The Essential Guide to Making It Work at Work, as well as the Boomerang Principle, Inspire lifetime loyalty from your employees. So if you want to create a supportive, intergenerational team for the future, or just want some digital marketing tips, tricks, and tools, then keep it right here. You don't want to miss today's value-packed episode.
Lee, thank you very much for joining us today. I've been looking forward to this. Author of 2 books, and I love what you put on your website. For the last 15 years, we've been changing. And I see so often companies get in, right? Those companies like get into this little groove and it's like, it's working, so don't touch it. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. You've got to evolve. You've got to grow.
So true. So true. I mean, I wish it wasn't true, but it's true.
Right. Right. You know, normally it's like it's working, and then it's like it's not working. And it's like, we better change. But it seems like it's part of your philosophy to keep evolving. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, Double Forte, my company, which is 15 years old, is a public relations and digital marketing firm. And frankly, digital marketing didn't exist when we started the company.
Analog marketing.
This thing has really changed more. My company started before Facebook, before LinkedIn, before Twitter, before Instagram, started when iOS was just a twinkle, right?
Yeah.
So nothing has changed more in our professional world than the way we communicate in the last 10 to 15 years. And so as a communications firm, if we are not always changing, we are out of business. And that probably was not the case, frankly, for most PR firms before the year 2000, because people were writing memos, making phone calls. But today, there are 20 things we're doing every single day to deliver a message to a consumer, a client, a partner, whatever, that didn't exist when we started the company. So we are always changing. And that was, or we're out of business. And that's just the basic bottom line.
Right. It was fun. I was just recording an episode right before we got on talking about competition. In any given city, you could have 1,000 people that are your competitors. How do you stand out? How do you actually get exceptional results when everyone else, there's tons in your marketplace? You've got to figure out how to look and act differently.
Absolutely.
I want to drill down a little bit on a word you keep bringing up, because I think it's so important, and people think that they're doing this and they're not. And that's communication.
Yes.
To me, communication is someone is speaking, writing, or doing something that is conveying a message to the other side that is then being received. What I see in the marketplace so often is a bunch of shouting, and they think they're communicating, but no one's listening.
Exactly.
What's the key?
So true. Well, the key is to start listening before you start talking.
God gave us 2 ears, right?
Who are you trying to reach? What are they doing? Where are they listening? Where are they connecting with people? And too often, I think in our business and in all of our business, we're like, oh, I just got to get on Snapchat and my audience will find me. Well, what if you're really? I mean, we hear it all the time. I want to be on Snapchat, Instagram. I want to do public relations, and all these things. And we just, say, wait, who is it that you're trying to reach? And we make them drill down, and we create personas, and we really figure out, so are they on Snapchat? Yes, they are on Snapchat at 10 p.m. for 20 minutes. Okay, that's not going to help you from yesterday's stuff, right? So let's, that would not be our first priority. So one, it's listening first. Like who is that person? What do they care about? Where are they? How do they engage with people? And do they use the different, all these different channels of communication? Do they use them equally? And the answer is always no. They do not use them equally. And figuring out which ones are most priorities for actually receiving and hearing messages, and what's just entertainment that, I just don't want to be bothered. I just want to scroll, So if you don't listen first, you cannot communicate. It's not possible to be heard if you're not listening.
Well, and what I think is so important of the space that you occupy is things change very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've been in business for the last 35 years. Mm-hmm. And, the first 10 years of my career, things moved pretty slow. I mean, we went from, fax machines to, starting to get like little floppy disks that were 12 inches wide, literally, or I don't know which one came first. I guess a fax machine came later, but, it was memos, and then it was a memory typewriter. That's what
my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm dating myself, but we had a memory typewriter. Yeah, we actually had inboxes. They were actually where the mail room actually dropped off mail, right?
In those yellow envelopes with holes in them. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, you remember it. Yeah, tickler files where you put follow-ups. We had all the cool stuff back then.
Yeah.
but business moved very slowly. Change did not.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it's constant. People ask me all the time, we're profitability consultants, and they're always asking, okay, where should I be spending my time? What's evolving? I said, look, if you went out today and you learned exactly what to do pick a social media platform. If you became an expert today, tomorrow you're going to be outdated. You're gonna lose. You've got to be in it every single day. What are you seeing? We're recording this February of 2018. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing in the last couple months that change the trends, and where do you think it's going in the next couple months?
Yeah. Well, Facebook is changing its algorithm. Huge change on Facebook in terms of how they're going to weight news organizations in people's feeds. And always the people who are closest to you are the ones, and this is not just because of social media, this has been true throughout the world. The people who are closest to you are the ones who give you most information, because those are the ones you trust the most, and therefore you'll listen to most. Facebook has changed its news algorithm based on all of the uproar coming out of the 2016 elections. So what will show up in people's news in feeds now is going to be very, very different, and how companies use Facebook has to adjust to the algorithm change. So that's probably the biggest change this year so far that will have the biggest impact, because almost every company and every person who has a business is on Facebook in some way, shape, or form, either through small groups, workplace, or just their personal, professional pages. You always have to be worried about, which is why we always say, never count on someone else's platform to deliver your message. You want to count on other people's platforms to augment what you're doing on your own platforms. So why, I'm looking at your website, Thor. That's the most important thing you can possibly do, is make sure that what you can control is controlled and awesome. And then what you put into other people's platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, I could go on ad nauseum, is optimized for that moment on that platform, because at any moment, anyone can change the algorithm, and they do often. And you are SOL on your business if you're just counting on someone else's platform to deliver your business or your message.
Yeah. It's like building a piece of, building a skyscraper on a rented piece of property.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're awesome platforms, but people who are just putting their business only on those are, they are SOL pretty quickly. Yeah. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Do you think the big platforms that are around today, do you think that most of them will survive in the next decade? What do you see where the trends are going?
Yeah, I think on the trend side, Facebook Well, first of all, I've been in Silicon Valley for 25 years. I know not to count on anything, right? Yahoo was, when Yahoo was, you could not unseat Yahoo. Well, Yahoo doesn't exist anymore, really. So as a,
Right.
entity.
Yeah.
So we know, and when I was at Sega of America, I was at Sega when Sonic the Hedgehog was the #1 franchise in the world, and now the company doesn't do hardware anymore, right? So there's always going to be ebb and flow. There's always going to be a new technology. There's going to be something. I think that Facebook will continue to be a behemoth in the platform communication world because there's so many people on it, and they have been very smart about how they're using it and for workplaces in their private networks. They've been very strategic in that way, and so more and more people who never had their own personal Facebook page are using it professionally. I think the things around it, Twitter, everyone counted Twitter out. And frankly, from speed of news, trend of what's going on, Twitter on the business side is going to have to probably evolve, or maybe not. Maybe it just keeps going the way it is. But I don't see what takes over Twitter's role. Instagram, Snapchat, I think Instagram is sort of the darling right now, but it's changing so quickly, and it's sort of mirroring what's going on with Facebook, which owns it. Sort of, I think the jury is out on some of these other ones. Pinterest, everyone counted Pinterest out, the darling. People spend more time on Pinterest platform than they do on any other. Smaller number of people, but bigger engagement and more revenue per person. So, those are the big five. And I would probably say of the five, 3 will be important in 10 years.
Where do we reach saturation where we just don't have any more time? Right now between, if you're single and you're dating, you've got thumbware, going left and right. You've got all the other platforms. Where do we reach the point where we just don't, there's no time in the day to work?
Oh my gosh, isn't that the truth? Well, I think that we might be there, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
We might be there. And I think what the problem is there's so much crap available, right? People are putting out imperfect products, imperfect apps, which is really the name of the game now, sort of minimal viable product, see if it has a market, then improve it over time. But in each category of app that helps you do these things, connect with potential dates or find time in your day or to-do lists or communication platform like WhatsApp, and oh my gosh, you go on and on and on. The more imperfect they are, because it's a much more mature market than it was even 5 years ago, the less opportunity there will be. So people are getting to be much more discerning about what they put on their phone, right? And I think there'll be a lot of more curation. People are already starting to curate what they put on their phone, what they will be willing to spend time on. And it's sort of, you watch what gets downloaded the most, and then you see abandonment rates. And that's really the tie ratio between download and abandonment is where success is. And the key really is to get that download, but for sustainability, obviously you have to get usage. And that's a big difference in the marketing and the communication around those two things.
Yeah, I found a great business model, and I didn't realize what it was until I actually became a customer of it. And that was a text service that if you text the number, blah, blah, blah to this number, they'll send you information. And I have one for my company for one of the live events that I do. And I realized after I got it in place, put it out there, started marketing with that number, I'm like, oh my God, I can never cancel this number.
No, you can't.
I'm like, this is the best business ever. It's $49 a month, and I can't go anywhere forever. It's like, talk about a set of handcuffs. I was like,
exactly.
Exactly. They make me mad, but I go, I got to respect them. I mean, what a great model. Get sticky with the customer. So important.
The stickiness on the number, right? It'll be interesting to see in that business. You can't move that number yet, but I bet you in 2 years, you'll be able, just like your phone number can transport, those numbers will be able to transport from system to system as well. As it just takes time.
Yeah, and they're in no rush.
They're in no rush, but figuring out, you get to a certain maturation point, right? And then there's And then companies are coming in to say, if I can just get 10% of that business, if I can get 20% of this business, and they're going off the percentages to steal away the best clients, the best customers, there's money in there as long as it's a mature market. And I think we'll see that happen more and more with apps that provide that functionality, but may not be keeping up with the customer service that they need to actually make us satisfied.
It's amazing, the customer service model. It's one of the easiest ways to win.
Oh my gosh.
It's the easiest ways to win nowadays.
It is. You asked me earlier, you have so much competition, how do you differentiate? In my company, we differentiate on service because results are results, and you can be a great agency and get results, and you can be the hardest agency to work for, and you will never keep the client. But if you get good results and you have awesome service, you will always keep the client. Because it makes it too hard to dislodge us, right? That if you can just make it easy to work with us, that is just the differentiator. Our average client engagement is about 6.5 years, which is 3 years longer than most of our competitors.
That's amazing.
But that's what we focus on, right? Now it's 15 years into this whole thing. But service is the easiest thing you can do to improve your business and the easiest thing you do to screw up your business.
It is true. I have a client that is in the divorce space, and he gets opportunities to refer business to divorce attorneys. Mm-hmm. And in Atlanta, the divorce attorney rate is anywhere between $450 and $500 an hour. And he goes, I've got 10 people I can refer business to, but every time someone calls me, it ends up going to the same person. I said, why do you do that? Because he also gets referrals back from them. I said, you got to spread it out. He goes, Thor, I can't do that. I said, why? He goes, the other people won't call my clients back.
Exactly.
It's like,
and
I know.
Is a referral is a reference on you,
yes,
right? It totally reflects on you.
Yeah.
Where do you put your business that you can accommodate? And in this world of networking, and we are all connected, right? And my second book's all about this, actually. How do you create this network that boomerangs back to you in some way, shape, or form? That if anything you do reflects on the people around you who you've worked with. And if you choose the person who will not reflect positively on you, then you are actually hurting yourself, even though you're trying to help the other person.
Yeah. I'm very careful when I give out referrals, and I protect it. And
absolutely, absolutely.
If it's not right, I won't make the referral. Period. But when I do, here's the thing: when I do, people know it, and if I put my name behind it, people know they can go to the bank on that.
Absolutely. I did that this morning. I have a woman who came to me. I mean, we've been trying to figure out how to work with her, but she just doesn't have our threshold of dollars. But I really want to help her out, right? And then so I've sort of been stalling her, trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And then I have an employee who wanted to go to halftime. She works from home in Boston. I'm in San Francisco. Our other office is in New York. And she just wants to be engaged with us, but she also wants to actually go to another office. And we're not going to open up there. So she moved to halftime. And I was like, you know what? This is the person I would assign it to. She's going out on her own to be in another space. I'm just going to give this client I've been trying to figure out how to help, but doesn't have our threshold, to my halftime employee now. She can get a better rate. She can get her other things started. Done, right?
Yeah.
And I told the potential client this, and she was like, she was so stunned. I'm like, absolutely. It's the best thing for you is get more time and to get better stuff. And the best thing for her is to find great clients who she can do great work for. And the best thing for me is to make you both successful. So let's go, right? And both of those people, right? So it's not no money in my pocket, but both of those people will go forward and only say good things about Double Forte and doing the right thing for the client and his people. That's all I need in the world. Yeah. I just have one more person saying that. I have one more client that will come to me somehow.
Absolutely. Pick the right people. The client I was just telling you about just a second ago about the attorneys. He just closed an 8-figure deal. An 8-figure deal. He did that because of a relationship that he built 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
He went out and he helped someone, and this guy ends up creating this company, selling the company, and 8 figures coming back to him.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Yeah, find the right people.
You got to be patient.
You do.
Right?
You do. Absolutely.
And I think if you're always waiting for something, the quid pro quo, you're just going to be waiting till you die. Because it's not how it works, right?
Right.
Go out there, be good in the market, help the people around you, and the help will come back to you in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.
Be on the lookout for part 2 of our conversation with Lee, where she tells us about the Boomerang Principle and how to retain your millennial employees. I'll see you guys on another episode of Peak Performers Podcast.